Welcome to Worthy Ones, the video series where I take all the newest #1 comic books that I read for the current comic book week and deem them worthy or not worthy. Guys, I'm Mike Spider Slayer. Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. If you love daily comic book content, if you love me helping you make decisions on what comic books to buy, you came to the right place. Hit that subscribe button. So this week's episode of Worthy Ones is a little bit different as I only purchased two #1 comic books this week. There wasn't that many that I was really interested in, like Predator and Alien. Not my kind of thing. I read those books already. And so I decided to talk about books that were coming off of events and major milestone books, and we'll get to those other ones shortly. But the first one we're going to talk about now is going to be Nightwing. This is Nightwing issue 111, and the reason why I wanted to talk about this one is because this is coming off of like Beast World in a way, I guess. It's weird because this book hasn't really been attached to Beast World, but the main thing is Tom Taylor's coming to the end of his run on this comic, and I want to see how he wraps everything up. I've been very hot and cold. I said I was going to drop this comic. I never have. I always find myself attached to it because it's well written, but it just never like goes anywhere, right? So this book is 40 pages. This is a $5 comic. Like I said, Tom Taylor does the writing. The art is done by Sammy Basseri, and the art is good. I mean, I like the action in here. We do get to see some Batman stuff in here, which is kind of cool to always see these two team up. And what this book has to offer is the return of Heartless. Well, kind of here, okay? And we wind up getting to see this young boy's dad get murdered by Heartless. But after doing some good detective work, Nightwing finds out with Batman that this version of Heartless is probably a copycat, because the way the death it happens is that there's pieces of the heart missing, it's jagged edges around the chest and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like that. And in the meantime, we wind up getting to see this kid whose father wound up getting killed from this copycat Heartless character, and he winds up getting taken in by his uncle. And let's just say things don't work out the way, you know, we always hope for, right? It's not always that perfect, you know, storybook ending. It actually is pretty sad when it comes to what happens to this kid, right? So I'm going to deem this book worthy. I thought Tom Taylor in this book does what he does best. He does very good emotional impact comic books. It's just when it comes to story progression, it's just like, it's just not there, right? But I was just like, man, I felt bad for this kid at the end of it. And I found myself intrigued to find out now who this copycat Heartless character is. So since I've collected every single issue at this point, I'm just going to keep going with it and write it out until this run actually ends. So if I had to grade this comic, I'm going to give this one a B. It was better than expected. Now, if you're expecting anything to attach to Beast World or something like that, it's not there, guys. It's just its own thing. Titans issue 8. Now, I didn't buy this book physically. I actually read it digitally on Tuesday night because I wanted to see the aftermath of Beast World. Because if there was any book that was going to tie into that, it was probably going to be this one. This is 32 pages. This is $4 comic. This is Tom Taylor, another book, and the artwork is done by Steven Segovia. The artwork is good. The colors look nice. The facial expressions look good. There wasn't a lot of action in this comic, but when the action happened, I thought it was actually pretty solid, okay? So the aftermath of Beast World. Of course, the Titans, the heroes, they're getting the bad rap off of everything because, yes, they saved the world, but look at how many people they killed in the process as well. And we wind up getting to see a very lengthy like news broadcast, like if you're, you know, if you're watching CNN or something like that in the comic. So you wind up seeing like Melinda Zuko in there, who is the mayor of Bloodhaven, and then you wind up getting Sergeant Steele in there, kind of doing like his talk show thing and seeing their two different perspectives, right? At the same time, we wind up seeing the Titans get called to a hurricane situation that's happening in Florida, and they want to help out and rescue people and do the right thing. So this is their first, not so huge, serious end of the world mission after the whole Goro incident. And we wind up getting to see, them saving people, and of course, Beast Boy gets attacked by a father because Beast Boy was trying to save the kids, and he goes, "We know the likes of you, and we don't like you." And, obviously, nobody likes the Titans, of course, because of everything that happens. And you're going to get both sides of the coin here. On the other side, we wind up getting to see Raven as her evil self talking with Trigon. And it looks like that Raven wants to play the Titans a little longer, get them on their side. And it looks like she's going to ascend to something else. So I like this book. I thought this one was worthy, and I thought that when it comes to Titans, before this issue, I wasn't really into the series at all, and at least this one now, that there is some kind of ramification or some kind of ongoing story after the event. It just doesn't end and they forget about everything that's happened, right? So I like this one as well. A little slow, too much in the news broadcast stuff. Tropical storm in Florida. Is that really an emergency for the Titans? Hey, why not? I'm going to give this one a B. It was still good. I'm looking forward to the next issue. The Six Fingers. This is issue 1. This is a $4 comic. This one is written by Dan Waters, and the art is done by Sumit Kumar. The artwork is good. I actually like the artwork better in this one than in the first part of this story that takes place in the hand that Ram V writes. And in this book, you wind up learning about the character that's committing all the murders and how he's actually become like this crazy person, right? It was so interesting. I found myself so intrigued by it, and it really adds a layer to this story. So like I said, it's about this guy who had this paper that he wrote, and he's trying to get this grant to do this travel, and he can't find his research paper. It's actually like, I don't know, it's missing from his folder, and he's like, I worked on this thing all night, I can't figure it out, what's going on? And he's this very controlling like guy. He's got to be in control of every situation, and we get to see how his life is, and we get to see the town and the city and everything else that's going on. And he works in this like plant that deals with like these heavy chemicals, and he's been in it quite a few times. And he takes matters in his own hand instead of letting his boss know. And it's like very toxic, right? And so it's slowly like corrupting his body and it's corrupting his mind, but he doesn't realize. He's like, oh yeah, I'm fine, there's no problem or anything like that. And he goes to this dinner, he breaks up with his girlfriend, and then all of a sudden what comes to his mind is that he's like, oh man, he's like, I remember that I wrote this paper. And it wasn't on the wall. I actually murdered, or it wasn't in the paper. I murdered somebody and I wrote it all over a wall. It's so freaking sick and dark. But it's pretty cool to see like the origin of this, future serial killer, right? Obviously, there's something wrong with his brain and whatnot. So the first issue actually takes place in the hand, written by Ram V, and then it continues in this like other book called The Six Fingers, and it's written by a different writer here. So that one you got to see the murder mystery and you don't know, and then here you get to see the origin. Really fun read. This is definitely a worthy book. I was really on the fence after that first issue. I liked it, but I was like, I don't see myself, in it for the long haul. But now learning about the main character here and how he became the way that he is, I'm very intrigued. So really enjoyed this one. This one is a B+. The only downfall is you have to get 2 separate books to understand the story, and there's 2 separate writers. But, hey, it is what it is. It's comics. It's just the way it goes sometimes. Edge of Spiderverse issue 1. This is a $5 comic. It's an anthology book. Obviously has multiple stories that talks about possibly future Spider characters. They seem to come out with this event now every single year so they can introduce Spider characters to see what literally sticks on the wall. Like, pun intended here, right? So there's a couple of new things going on in this one. We get Weapon 8, who's the newest Spider introduced. We get a Miguel O'Hara story, and then you get the return of Spider Bite, because maybe she was halfway decent in Across the Spiderverse, okay? This is a $5 comic. It's written by Colin Kelly, Jackson Lansing. We got Neela Mongardur, Alex Circurvia. Yeah, there's a couple things going on in here. All right. Artwork is going to be different across the board because it's going to be different stories, okay? So pick and choose what you want, which artwork you like. This is the main story, the Weapon 8 storyline, where we get introduced to this character who is basically having, like, issues. Like, he's gotten created, and he doesn't know his name, and he's asking, what's my name, who's my identity, blah, 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 blah. You get to see him take on Wolverine. He kicks Wolverine's ass in there. He fights Captain America. He kicks Captain America's ass. I don't know. I find it kind of unbelievable. Wasn't my favorite thing. Then you wind up getting a story with Spider Bite, where she's in this server and she's battling Shocker, and it was just a very forgettable story. And then you get a story in here with Spider-Man 2099. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Spider-Man 2099. I think he's good. But this last story has to do with a story that's coming out in the near future, right? It's setting up things to come. And then it's going to be told more in the Web of Spider-Man issue 1. Why do I need that here? I don't need that here. Just tell me in the Web of Spider-Man issue 1. For me, this is a waste of space. If you want to introduce more Spider characters, because that's what this is, let's go ahead and do that. It's just kind of like a teaser of what's to come here. And then you're going to get another teaser in Web of Spider-Man. This book is not worthy, okay? I'm going to save you the $5 here. There's nothing special here. If you're looking for spec because of this Weapon 8 Spider character, that might be something, but it's not really worth picking it up to read. It's not a very entertaining book, and you're going to learn more about what Miguel O'Hara is going through in the Web of Spider-Man issue 1. So pass this one up, guys. Don't pick it up, and I'm going to give this one a D. It was nothing entertaining. I was just very bored by the whole thing. Very forgettable issue. Spawn, issue 350. Now, it's been a hot minute since I actually read the main Spawn title. I've been reading Gunslinger, but the whole reason why I actually decided to pick this book up was because Brett Booth is taking over the art duties going forward here. It's 350. It's a good time to jump on board. And I just want to make an apology to everybody out there. When I was showcasing this book during my comic book haul, I accidentally spoiled something, and I didn't mean to. I didn't know that it was a major spoiler because I opened up to the part of the book that I didn't think that was towards the end, and there was an epilogue at the end of it, so it made it longer. So I apologize. I just haven't read the book, and I didn't know that was a major part. So again, my bad, and there will be possibly spoilers in this review, so if you don't want to see the review of this, then, you know, read your book first. All right, so here we go. Spawn 350. When it comes to the artwork in this book, it's absolutely awesome. I think Barberi also does the artwork in here, and there's just so much action. Like, it's all come to a head now. Like, it's been the longest time, and I even know this, not even reading the book, is that we have all these characters fighting for the throne of hell. Right? So you got like the Clown, and you got Sin, and you got what's his name? Spawn, and you got Nyx, and you got all these different characters that are just fighting each other for this throne. And that's pretty much what this issue is. It's just one huge fight. And by the time you wind up getting to the end of this comic book, you wind up getting to see who gets that throne. And the reveal is actually really awesome. Here's the spoiler. I'm going to let you know. So if you don't want to hear it, plug your ears, cover your eyes. And this one is going to be Nyx. And this is her power here. Okay? I mean, she looks great. Her power has been multiplied. She is now in charge of Hell. And we wind up getting to see Spawn and all the other Spawns wind up going back to, I guess, Earth or whatever it is, right? And we wind up seeing that the, what is it? The place that gives them their powers, it's just, I'm drawing a blank at this moment, is like expanded. And then for whatever reason, what happens is they don't have their powers now. So I was like, whoa. And here's some of the artwork right here. So even though I've been lost and I haven't read Spawn in quite a while, I understood what was going on. It was very entertaining. I thought it was a great jumping on point for a lot of readers. So I'm definitely going to find this book worthy. And I'm going to continue this book because what's going on is it's going to introduce more Spawn series in the near future. I'm going to try those ones out to see which ones I really, truly liked. I'll probably read Spawn, Gunslinger for sure, and then we'll see about those new series. But when it came to this issue, and if you're looking for balls-to-the-wall action, climactic conclusion to everything that's been building all this time, it was definitely well worth it. I'm going to give this book an A. It was a lot of fun, right? Again, I didn't read in a long time. I understood what was going on. And I want to hear your comments below what you thought of Spawn issue 350 if you agree with me. And do you like the new person or thing in charge of Hell? Okay, so I have to review this book right away. I need to talk about it. This is Ultimate Spider-Man issue 2. I wanted to see if this book was just as worthy as the first issue, okay? Now, this book is a $5 book. This one is written by Jonathan Hickman. The art is done by Chiquetto. And let you know, guys, there's spoilers in here as well. If you don't want to even look at the book, then just stop the video right now, okay? So here is the artwork that you can expect in here. So it looks good. Mary Jane, the kids look well. And in this comic, for right now, we wind up getting to see Spider-Man in the black, right? And what's cool about this is this suit doesn't have any spider on it. It's just a plain black suit because he doesn't even know what he's calling himself like right now, right? I thought that was really cool. It's just like, oh, we're going to change the black suit, but we're just going to make it completely black. It's blacked out, right? So what was this particular story about this time around? Well, in this issue, we wind up getting to see Spider-Man interact with his kids a little bit more in this book, and they're reading a newspaper article about Spider-Man being out on the town, and we get to see May, who's actually scared of the Spider-Man, and Peter's just like, you know, he's just listening. Mary Jane gets to go do her stuff. But what was cool about this book is that we've known Spider-Man for so long, and we've known how his origin happens, but this is like a retelling, but with just a fresh look on it. You know, it's just, I don't know, I found myself so intrigued. It's just like, it's almost like an ongoing what if comic book. It's like, what if Spider-Man got bit by the radioactive spider 20 years later? What would happen, right? And so you wind up getting to see him experiment with his powers. He's training himself, the trials and tribulations. I made this point with the Jackpot character, right? When Mary Jane became Jackpot, you never saw her really go through trials and tribulations of being Jackpot, learning her powers and going through failures. She right away is successful at what she was doing. Spider-Man is not even having success web slinging, right? So good right there. Really love it. And then he comes across his first nemesis, his first enemy, and that is the Shocker in the comic book. And I love the way the Shocker looks. He's a little bit beefier. He reminds you of maybe a wrestler. And the only reason why I realized it was Shocker in the beginning, because here of his suit and then those gauntlets. And he takes Spider-Man for his sucker, and freaking Peter falls for it. Like twice in the comic book. And it was so good. He gets his ass handed to him, you know? Really, really good stuff in this comic. You wind up getting to see more stuff with Ben and J. Jonah Jameson coming up with like a name for their paper as well. And then there was a very like heartwarming and very grounded moment with May and Peter in this comic, as well as she winds up discovering that her father is Spider-Man. And I love that. I love how not everybody is going to be in the dark about him being this superhero, okay? And the cool thing is by the time we wind up getting to the end of this book, we wind up seeing May actually, you know, give a hint or a foreshadowing of what's to come for Peter's new costume. Now, I didn't give away everything in this comic. I want to leave some surprise, but I just love sharing my enthusiasm with this comic book. This book is so worthy in so many ways. This book is just as good, if not better, than the first issue. This is almost like an origin issue in itself. It's so good. It's oh my god, it's phenomenal. This is an A+ for me. I don't know who's not reading this comic book, but this is Spider-Man to me. This is the way it should be in the main title. Next level, man. There's no bullshit around it. It's so good, and I can't wait to see the progression with the Green Goblin character, Kingpin, and just all the other heroes and villains that are going to make their way in this comic book. Maybe not necessarily in the Ultimate Universe, but at least in this one for right now. So this is a must read for everybody out there. So there you have it, guys. I want to know in the comments below what you deem worthy and not worthy. And before you leave, you can click on more content right here. And if you want to become a channel member, you guys can get early releases on videos as cheap as a 99 cents, guys. So help support the channel for that. Get cool stickers, you know, when you make comments, and then the live streams and stuff like that. I got TikTok now on Comic Book Corner 2.0, so you can follow me on there. And of course, join that Facebook group. And guys, as always, remember, support those local comic shops. Keep buying, keep collecting, but always remember, let's read those comics. Guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you real soon. Bye.